We've got some really interesting stuff sent over lately. Things that genuinely make you rethink how we see ourselves, maybe.
Definitely.
And today, we're doing a deep dive into something that seems simple at first glance, but, well, it's got layers. Human asymmetry. It's not just about being right or left-handed, is it? It goes much deeper.
Oh, absolutely. And what's really striking from the get-go, looking at this material, is how we seem symmetrical, But underneath, it's a different story.
Right. We kind of take that balanced look for granted.
We do. But the sources you shared really hammer home that structurally and functionally we're actually pretty asymmetrical.
Okay, let's try and unpack that a bit, because one thing that jumps out is just how widespread this is. It's not some rare thing. It's fundamental.
Yeah, it's baked into us.
There's a quote in here that says it perfectly. While humans often appear symmetrical on the outside, we are actually quite asymmetrical in both our structure and function. That really sticks with you.
It does, doesn't it? And if you think about it, this baseline asymmetry, it probably shapes so much how we move, how we perceive things, maybe even how we think.
And it's not just limbs, like you said. The material mentions legs. Ever notice which leg you automatically use to step up?
Yeah, or your dominant eye when you look through something.
Exactly. Or even which ear feels, I don't know, better for listening on the phone.
Right. And then you get into internal organs. They aren't perfectly mirrored either. Their placement, how they work, it's all slightly off-center.
So for someone trying to, really get the core idea of things, this is huge. It tells us something basic about how we're built.
It really does. And the material naturally brings up the most obvious example, the one everyone thinks of first. Handedness.
Yeah, the dominant hand. It's the classic example. And the stats are pretty stark, aren't they? Something like 90% right-handed?
Roughly, yeah. Around 90% righty, maybe 10% lefty or ambidextrous. It's a really strong bias.
So why? What's the thinking behind that?
Well, the sources really point towards our brain organization, specifically brain hemisphere specialization.
The left brain, right brain thing?
Sort of, yeah. The left hemisphere usually handles the right side of the body. And importantly, it tends to be dominant for things like language and fine motor skills in most people.
Okay.
So the material suggests that this dominance leads to right-handedness. It's like one side of the brain is just, well, better equipped or more practiced for those specific tasks.
That makes sense. Like, there's a more efficient pathway from that brain hemisphere to the right hand for doing delicate stuff.
Pretty much. Think about signing your name, like you mentioned before. Feels automatic with one hand.
And completely awkward with the other.
Exactly. It's deeply ingrained, could be partly innate, partly practice.
But, and this is important, the sources stress, it's not just hands.
No. Definitely not. That's a key takeaway. The dominance thing, it applies across the board.
Right. One of the sources says it explicitly. However, dominance extends beyond just the hands. We also have a dominant leg, eye, and ear.
Yeah. It paints this picture of our whole body having these preferences, these slightly stronger or more skilled sides.
And that must have real-world effects.
Bro, absolutely. Think about athletes. A dominant eye is crucial for aiming in archery or shooting.
Or a footballer's kicking leg. The power and precision usually come from one side more than the other.
Definitely. Even something like listening in a noisy room, maybe one ear is slightly better at picking out speech. It influences sensory processing too.
Okay, this is where I find it gets really fascinating, the why. Why did we evolve this way? The sources offer a few theories, don't they?
They do. It's like this big biological puzzle. What drove this asymmetry?
What are some of the main contenders?
Well, one area is genetics. The sources mention evidence suggesting handedness might be inherited, at least partly.
So it could run in families?
Potentially, yeah. Though they also say the specific genes aren't fully pinned down yet. It's complex.
Okay, so maybe genetics. What else?
Environmental factors come up too. Things happening maybe before we're born, in the womb, or experiences really early in childhood.
How would that work?
Maybe subtle pressures or how we first interact with tools or objects could nudge us towards favoring one side. It highlights that nature and nurture interaction.
Right, the combination.
And then there's the evolutionary advantage idea.
Ah, yes. I find this one really compelling. The idea that being lateralized actually helped our ancestors survive or thrive.
Exactly. One source puts it like this. Lateralization may have provided our ancestors with an evolutionary advantage by allowing them to perform tasks more efficiently and react more quickly to threats.
That makes a lot of sense, like specializing.
Could be. Imagine tool making. If individuals got really good with one hand, maybe it led to better tools overall. Or maybe reacting to danger, a faster response with a dominant arm or a leg, could be life-saving.
So like having built-in specializations, one side geared for certain actions?
Kind of, yeah. It suggests efficiency and speed might have been evolutionary drivers.
So, bringing it back to today, what does all this mean for us in daily life? It's not just a cool biological fact, right? It affects things.
For sure. The sources point to several key impacts. Motor skills are the obvious one.
Right. Your dominant hand and leg are usually stronger, more coordinated.
Better dexterity, yeah. Big impact on sports, writing, using tools, playing musical instruments, anything requiring fine control.
Just try threading a needle with your non-dominant hand. Point made.
Exactly. But beyond the physical, the material hints it might influence cognitive stuff too.
Like how?
Things like language processing, maybe spatial reasoning. The way our brain hemispheres are specialized could tie into how we think and process information differently.
Interesting. So physical asymmetry might connect to mental processing styles.
The sources suggest a potential link, yeah. It's complex, but it points to this deep connection between body and brain organization.
And then there was that other, maybe more surprising mention about health.
Ah, yes. The material briefly touches on some research suggesting maybe a slightly higher risk for certain things in left-handers, like allergies, or maybe some autoimmune conditions.
Okay, but that sounds like early days research.
Very much so. It's important not to overstate it. It's more an area of ongoing investigation, how these deep asymmetries might interact with our overall physiology. It's an intriguing question.
Definitely food for thought.
Oh.
But, the material doesn't just leave it there. It also talks about embracing this, right? It's not all fixed.
That's a really positive angle, yeah. It emphasizes that lateralization isn't always absolute. Lots of people have mixed dominance.
Meaning?
Like you might write right-handed but throw a ball left-handed.
Right.
Or favor one leg for kicking but the other for balance.
Ah, okay. So it's not always strictly one side for everything.
Not necessarily. And crucially, the sources mention we can actually train our non-dominant side.
Oh, so you can improve strength and coordination on the weaker side.
With practice, yes. It shows we're not totally locked into our initial leanings. We can adapt and develop.
That's encouraging. It feels less limiting.
Absolutely. And there's a great summary point in the material. By understanding and embracing our asymmetries, we can optimize our performance and live healthier, more fulfilling lives.
I like that. It's about awareness leading to optimization.
Yeah. Or just better self-understanding. Knowing your natural tendencies, dominant hand, leg, eye, ear, gives you insight into your strengths, maybe areas you could work on if you wanted to build more balance.
And it all loops back to this idea that even with these dominant sides, we're integrated beings, right?
Yeah.
We function as a whole.
Exactly. The sources wrap it up nicely. We are whole individuals with unique strengths and abilities, and by understanding our asymmetries, we can unlock our full potential.
So it's not about seeing ourselves as divided, but as complex systems with these interesting internal balances or imbalances.
Precisely. Understanding the asymmetry gives you a richer, more accurate picture of yourself and how you navigate the world.
So let's wrap this up. This whole deep dive, it really shows that what looks like simple symmetry on the outside is, it's masking this incredibly complex and fundamental asymmetry inside. It's way beyond just handedness. It touches on how we move, think, maybe even our health.
It's a core part of being human.
And this whole exploration was really kicked off by some fascinating material we received, including some really insightful perspectives shared via Terence Hughes Balance Guru.
Right, and bringing in that kind of perspective, someone focused specifically on balance, adds another interesting layer, doesn't it?
How so?
Well, it makes you think about how these built-in asymmetries, the stronger leg, the dominant side, might interact with our overall ability to stay upright, to move smoothly. Do the dominant and non-dominant sides play different roles in maintaining our equilibrium?
Ah, I see. So maybe the dominant side initiates movement and the non-dominant side stabilizes, or something like that.
It could be something along those lines. It prompts questions about the interplay. How does our inherent asymmetry affect our fundamental sense of balance? It connects things up.
It really does show how interconnected everything is.
Yeah.
So, okay, for everyone listening, maybe a final thought to chew on.
Yeah.
How might really tuning in to your own unique pattern of asymmetry which hand you grab things with, which leg you step forward with, which eye you wink with. How might knowing that influence your daily life, your hobbies, maybe skills you want to learn, or even just how you see yourself? Maybe take some moment sometime today to just notice your own beautiful inherent imbalance.